From a distance, the Wenatchee area wildfires in eastern Washington look terrible. From up close, they're downright hazardous. That's why the state governor tasked Washington National Guard helicopters and crews to help stop what Forest Service officials are calling one of the worst fires they've seen in the Pacific Northwest. Moreover, it's the second time guardsmen have been activated this summer. Twice in a season is unprecedented, according to First Lieutenant Robillard.
It sounds like 2004 was the last big fire that they called us in on. Before that, 2001 and then 1994. So there's a 6 to 8 year spread between these fires generally. So this is not something that we do every day.
The guardsmen and their 2 helicopters, a Chinook and a Blackhawk, work alongside federal and state officials, as well as private contractors, to deliver 600 to 2,000 gallon buckets of desperately needed water to support ground-based fire crews combating the blazes. However, the straightforward task of dropping as much water as possible on a 39,000-acre inferno turns out to be easier said than done. Oddly enough, patience is a virtue when it comes to battling wildfires.
There's a lot of things that need to be in place before we just put aircraft into the sky. There has to be an air attack platform up there and a helicopter or fixed wing. Scouting out the situation first and seeing what the strategy is going to be and the tactics and making up a plan, and then we have to have communications in place and the radios get complicated, and so there's a whole bunch of things that need to be planned out before you just jump in and go. I just got the word now, so I'm getting ready to walk out there and let them know about it.
After a few hours of waiting for the reconnaissance flights to take off and return, the guardsmen finally receive the day's mission. From that point, a whole new set of complications arise.
It's kind of a controlled chaos when you're at the dip and you're getting the water out of whatever water source you're using. You don't want your bucket when it's in the water to act as an anchor point, because then you have a huge anchor underneath your aircraft. En route to the flames, you have other aircraft coming and going the other direction, so you have to watch out for other traffic. Then when you're at the fire, you don't want to drop the water too high so it's ineffective. You want to drop it low enough that it actually gets to where you're trying to drop it. But you also have to watch your altitude. You have to make sure that you have enough power, because a lot of the times they're dropping on these canyon walls. You have winds to contend with, so honestly the entire thing requires a lot of technical proficiency.
Meanwhile, the operation is in continuous flux.
Yesterday was Lake Wenatchee. Sunday I was dipping out of Lake Chelan. Saturday I was dipping out of the Wenatchee River in a small hole where we could actually get the bucket submerged. So each time is going to be different. And then even yesterday we had a nice rhythm going, but at any point that wind could shift. And now instead of the nice pattern we had, we may have to adjust the pattern.
The bucket's underneath the aircraft, the water bucket. We can't see that as pilots, and so we'll fly over the target area, and at some point we lose sight of the target. And at that point the crew chief will start giving us directions and corrections to our line. And then the crew chief is the person that actually pushes the button to drop the water. The water, the sides sort of expand, so you got 600 gallons of water there, and when the crew chief pushes the button, the bottom just falls out. It just completely opens up, and so all 660 gallons just comes out at once. This is the center point of the aircraft, so we want all the weight centered right below the aircraft as we fly. If there was an emergency, if it got stuck in the trees or something bad, we lost an engine or something and couldn't get rid of the water, we could punch off the water bucket right here.
Typically, a firefighting mission lasts 2 hours before the aircraft must refuel. The Chinook appears out of the smoke in only 20 minutes. A bad sign.
Our bucket?
Okay.
It's not closing right, so we came back to get it fixed. Actually, yeah, this is the closest open field to where we're at right now. So they're doing a quick check to make sure that they can't repair it. And then if we can't, we have another bucket, we'll replace it. So hopefully we'll be back in the air in about 20 minutes.
You can see on the gate there, you can see there's a huge gap on top, and there's nothing on the bottom, so there's something.
There's something kinked in there.
That thing just sits down there, right where it was.
Unable to fix the bucket, they attach the spare and hope to receive permission to fight the fire independently while the other helicopters refuel. But that plan is nixed too because the smoke has thickened, making it unsafe to fly. Soon, the blazing sun is too low on the horizon to allow another mission. The crews are grounded, their disappointment palpable.
we appreciate these guys are, being patient with us, and then all of a sudden it's hurry up and go, and they're ready to go. This
is a very different mission than a combat role when we go federal into a federal status, and we're overseas. Then where it's we're in the big army, so to speak, and a very different mission set. But from our standpoint, this is really a true guard mission, and that's just helping our fellow neighbors. When things are rough. So it's good.